This morning, students at the University of Miami Frost School of Music are sounding the alarm over health concerns on campus. We'll tell you what it is and why students are complaining.
You walk in and you're hit with mold.
Plus, we take you to a Miami staple that brings the taste of Italy to South Florida. And later on, a morning show expert visits us here at the U to tell us about his latest projects.
I've been so blessed and lucky to work in this business.
And finally, the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, joins us live in studio for an exclusive one-on-one interview. These stories and more coming up on UMTV This Morning.
Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to the first ever edition of UMTV This Morning. I'm Ethan Gainey.
And I'm Regina Potenza. Thank you for joining us. World Central Kitchen founder Chef Jose Andres says Israel, quote, systemically targeted 7 of WCK's aid workers just after they dropped off food for civilians. WCK said its aid team had coordinated its plan with the Israeli military, and Israel's top general just spoke out about the attack. The goal World Central Kitchen and 7 of its team members had Monday was to drop off more than 100 tons of food aid for starving people in Gaza. The outcome was tragic. WCK says the team traveled in marked vehicles, 2 armored, 1 not, in a deconflicted zone when Israel military hit the convoy, killing 7. One victim, British Armed Forces veteran James Kirby, working WCK's security team, whose family said he knew the dangers but just had to help people. A U.S. State Department spokesperson called the attack unacceptable.
I think it's important to remember that these were 7 tragic deaths yesterday, but over 200 aid workers have lost their life since this conflict began.
We are sorry for the unintentional harm to the members of WCK.
Israel has admitted fault, calling the incident a grave mistake of misidentification.
It happens in war, and we are thoroughly investigating it.
A U.S. official says President Biden will speak with Israel's Prime Minister Thursday, their first conversation since the attack.
The president conveyed he will make clear to Israel that humanitarian aid workers must be protected.
Meanwhile, World Central Kitchen's operations in Gaza have paused. Cyprus's foreign ministry says a boat organized by WCK left Gaza after the strike with more than 200 tons of aid once intended for the enclave. Now, it's in limbo.
A 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit the east coast of Taiwan early Wednesday morning, killing 9 and leaving more than 1,000 people injured. The earthquake hit at 7:58 a.m. local time, 11 miles south of the city of Hualien. Footage shows crushed infrastructure, buildings leaning at severe angles, and debris falling from the sky. Rescuers searched Hualien for people injured or trapped in buildings. At least 1,011 people were reported injured, and many were left stranded. The quake, along with aftershocks, caused many landslides, damaging roads, tunnels, and bridges, leaving traffic along the east coast of Taiwan at a complete standstill. This was the strongest earthquake to hit the country in 25 years.
By this time next year, Florida could be one of the most lenient states for abortion, or one of the strictest. Its high court is letting voters decide which. 2 new rulings from the court lay out diverging paths for abortion in the state. One lets a 6-week ban take effect on May 1st. 6 weeks is before most people even know they're pregnant. The other ruling lets voters override that with a law with a ballot measure this November. If it gets adopted, it would enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution.
One of the largest cash heists in history is under investigation after $30 million were stolen from a currency storage facility in Los Angeles. The FBI and the Los Angeles Police Department said the burglary took place the night of Easter Sunday in Sylmar, a neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley. According to the police, the burglars entered the facility through the roof, completely undetected. The first report of the theft was on Monday morning. Investigators believe the group to be highly experienced based on their ability to gain access to the vault without setting off any alarms.
To be able to get into the building undetected, to be able to get into an internal safe, to be able to remove that much property and some knowledge of the alarm system, the layout of the place, the camera surveillance equipment, very well thought out, very well orchestrated, if you will.
The vault held money from businesses from across California. Police are also looking into whether the group had inside knowledge of the facility, which is operated by GardaWorld, one of the largest privately owned security and risk companies. GardaWorld has not released any statement on the theft. The investigation is ongoing, and law enforcement says there are no suspects at this point, but the nature of the theft points towards a crew of some kind.
Officials in Maryland have honored the divers who responded to the deadly Baltimore Key Bridge collapse last week. The Prince George County Special Operations Division's Marine Unit and Underwater Recovery Team were recognized for their efforts. Their participation in search and rescue operations at the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse site were critical. The divers worked in virtual darkness in the hazardous tangle of twisted metal and debris in the Patapsco River. Even when lit, their view was like driving through heavy snowfall in the dark with high-beam headlights on.
For the last 15 years, the month of April has featured streets full of rainbows in the biggest LGBTQ celebration of the year. Our reporter Billy Brightman is live at Miami Beach City Hall, where the festivities started last night. Billy, talk to me about it.
Ethan, to mark the beginning of Miami Beach Pride, officials raised the inclusive flag at City Hall last night. The flag shows support for the entire lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities and communities of other identities as well. This beacon of support will continue to fly alongside the American flag and the City of Miami Beach flag for the entirety of Miami Beach Pride, which held its first events this week. One of these events was held at the nearby Lincoln Road last night. At 7:30, the street was lit up in rainbow lights to spread the message of inclusivity. But if you missed it, don't worry. There will be plenty of other Pride events throughout the next week all around Miami, ending with the Miami Beach Pride Festival on April 13th and 14th at Loomis Park. It started in 2009 and has grown to be one of the biggest in the country. If you want to check it out, head out to Loomis Park on that weekend. And for now, in Miami Beach, Billy Brightman, UMTV.
Thanks, Billy. When most people go to student class, they have to worry about grades, attendance, and stress. But students at the Frost School of Music have to worry about germs, bacteria, and their overall health, all because of one specific building. Harvey Duplock investigated the situation.
You walk in and you're hit with mold. You can see it in the carpets. There's specks of mold in the carpets. You can see it in the walls.
Mold has been a hot topic of discussion among students at the University of Miami Frost School of Music for months. Many say they have seen mold in the birth of Foster Memorial Building. It was built in 1961 and has some 60 practice rooms for more than 700 students.
I know this. We make sure every day that fosters a healthy environment.
According to the CDC, mold grows in places with a lot of moisture and grows well on materials like carpet. Every practice room in the Foster building has its own air conditioning unit, is covered in head-to-toe carpeting for noise insulation, and the first floor of the practice hall flooded last year. And some students say they are affected.
Anytime I come out of there from singing there for a long period of time, my chest feels super heavy. I'm sneezing, blowing my nose.
The CDC says mold may cause a variety of health issues, such as stuffy nose, wheezing, red or itchy eyes and skin, or even fever and shortness of breath, which is not ideal for musicians who have to constantly use their lungs and vocal cords. The practice rooms are definitely outdated and there is a distinct smell in there and some suspicious stains, but we couldn't identify any mold, so we went back
with a bacteria growth kit, and we're going to see if there truly is a lot of mold and bacteria growing in there.
We took samples of a strange substance by the air vent, the actual air vent, piano keys and a door handle. The results showed that the practice room door handle has 0 bacteria and the piano keys have very minimal bacteria growth. However, the gunk leaking out of the air vent is completely covered in bacteria and even has some mold forming. But worst of all, the actual air vent had some bacteria but is covered in mold. That's what all that white fluffy stuff is. So with this much mold forming, have they done anything to clean up the building?
They have not. The issue is that it is a historic building.
Except it's not historic. Dean Berg says the status is in limbo, and that's part of why no major changes have been made just yet.
Nobody wants to spend many $1 millions for a total renovation of a building that you might be tearing down. So what we do is the very, very best job we can with maintaining the building.
To help control the germs, the school put updated air conditioning units in some of the rooms. Students can also practice outside, in empty classrooms, or in teachers' offices when available, if they don't feel safe in the practice rooms. But they should know they're not the only ones wanting change.
I'll be happy when Foster is finally renovated. But in the meantime, students should report anything to us that they feel is an issue, because things do happen in older buildings, and they should know that we're on this every day. We're not going to allow them to be in an environment that's not healthy for them.
For UMTV, I'm Harvey Duplock.
April is Autism Acceptance Month, which aims to foster greater awareness, acceptance, and inclusion of those affected by the condition. On Monday, Coral Gables kicked off the month by raising the Autism Acceptance flag at City Hall. District 7 Commissioner Raquel Regalado joined students and staff of Coral Gables Special Education School Crystal Academy for the occasion. Then on Tuesday, in honor of World Autism Acceptance Day, Miami Police Departments participated in a citywide caravan featuring specially wrapped vehicles with messages like love and understanding. And the caravan's last stop just so happened to be Crystal Academy.
We brought tears to everybody here because we never expected to actually fill out this playground with cars wrapped in autism messages, right? And this year they have 11 more cars than last year, so it's growing.
The students interacted with the officers, checked out their rides, and even prepared a concert for the occasion. Maria says an event like this is important because it gives officers a chance to interact with people on the spectrum. She also stressed the importance of sensitivity training for police and first responders.
Coming up, we'll tell you all about one group that is jumping over barriers and creating a fun way to create community and prioritize mental health. Plus, learn how one woman is defying the odds and making her dreams come true. We'll be right back.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You didn't turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
To the left. To the right. Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutVaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Did you ever jump rope as a kid? Double Dutch may still be a popular game for children to play with their friends, but it's not just for kids anymore. Melanie Lowe explains.
Every week, this gym in the heart of Sunrise, Florida becomes a sanctuary for one unique group of women. This is the 40 Plus Double Dutch Club, an international organization where women over 40 years old can relive their childhood memories through fun, fitness, and fellowship.
We had no idea that God was going to use us. We're just two ordinary women to start a movement that would span the entire world, and just showcasing that just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old.
Founded by Pamela Robinson in 2016 in a Chicago suburb, the 40 Plus Double Dutch Club has expanded its reach across the United States and the world. There are over 100 subclubs throughout the US, Israel, Germany, and Canada. The club aims to combine mental and physical wellness to give adult women a sense of community and benefit their health.
So we come here to relate, release, and to, fill up on one another, get it all out, get the stress out. It's good for our mental health, our physical health, because our hearts are very important.
Robinson says one of the reasons behind starting the club was to give Black women a space to be carefree.
We're always taking care of everyone else, and we don't really take the time to prioritize taking care of ourselves. And most women over 40, if you ask them when was the last time they played outside with their friends, they can't answer that question. But now that we have the 40 plus Double Dutch Club, we can.
Members of the club say that Double Dutch was a significant part of their childhood as Black women, but now as adults, it takes on a new meaning.
It's different now because it's empowering now, and we are showing other women you could still get out there and have fun.
The next big event for the 40 Plus Double Dutch Club is the annual meetup in Chicago on Labor Day weekend, where women from all over the world will gather to celebrate their womanhood.
A lot of women, they came for the Double Dutch, but they stay for the sisterhood.
Melanie Lowe, UMTV.
Parts of the Midwest have been pummeled this week with severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, flooding, and even snow. The extreme weather has affected some 75 million people and has left thousands injured, homeless, or without power. In Maine and New Hampshire, April showers have been replaced with snowstorms, and Pennsylvania and surrounding states are facing flooding after severe thunderstorms. The storms are expected to slow down, and officials are working to restore power as fast as they can. We've seen the severe weather raging over the Midwest, but what are the conditions going to be like here in Miami? Weathercaster Ann Badowski is in studio with the forecast.
And also, Ann, where do we need to go to see the eclipse next week?
Well, before I get into our eclipse information, I want to look over our headlines a little bit more. We're going to be having some snow in the Sierras to also look forward to, and as for here in Florida, we're going to have some pretty beautiful conditions. As for our solar eclipse, it's going to be happening on April 8th, and it's going to be covering a huge portion of the United States. Almost everybody here is going to be seeing at least a partial eclipse. You can see this path of totality heading right through the middle of the U.S., so a lot of people are going to be having 100% coverage. For this coverage area, this means that temperatures can drop from 5 to 15 degrees. So as the moon passes over, it's going to be a little bit colder than usual. You can see these lines on the side might also be experiencing some thunderstorms. With the difference in cold temperature and warm temperature around it, it can create some thunderstorms. On top of that, the cold area can create some windy conditions. It can change the wind speed and wind direction. As we look at our as we head to the West Coast, we have some snowy conditions that we're looking at. You can see even up in Boise in the pink, that's up to 18 inches of snow. The rest of the country is going to be, the rest of the West Coast is going to be having some snowy-ish conditions as we head through the rest of the weekend. As for our national temperatures, you have to remember that the sun has not risen over the West Coast yet, so these temperatures are a little bit off. But as for us here in Miami at 68 degrees, one that pops up is Phoenix at 64 degrees, which is pretty warm even with the sun not coming up yet. But as for here in Florida, we have some pretty gorgeous conditions. Look at this, sunny, a little bit of clouds as we head through the rest of the week. Temperatures hovering around 80 degrees as we head through. You can see our low temperatures are increasing as we head through the rest of the week, which means that we're going to be waking up with some warmer temperatures. Now back to you guys.
Thanks, Ann. On March 23rd, the Miami-Dade County Auditorium hosted a dance showcase unlike any other. Billy Brightman tells us more.
Marjorie Burnett loves to dance. She has cerebral palsy, but it has never stopped her from having dreams of being on stage.
And I pointed to the stage, and I said, I don't want to do that. I want to be out there. And then I told my friend, and they all looked at me like I was crazy. I said, well, you'll see, I'll do it one day, and here I am.
On March 23rd, Marjorie and other dancers with disabilities performed in the 5th annual Forward Motion Dance Festival in Miami. It was hosted by a company called Karen Peterson Dancers that was created almost 35 years ago as a space for inclusive dance.
Wow, this really makes sense to me, and it has impact in the dance world, and it satisfied something in me that contemporary dance wasn't doing for me at that time.
Marjorie and her fellow dancers have practiced their pieces with Karen for the festival for years, and even though they've been performing for a while, each performance is still just as special.
She's my mentor. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. She made my dreams become a reality.
While Karen knows not all audiences are open-minded, the audience at Forward Motion was truly in awe at what she and her dancers could accomplish.
So
diverse and so creative and romantic and sexy and all the stuff that you don't expect to see.
It's the support of such audiences that keeps Karen's mission alive.
Really have practiced inclusion and honestly, and I have been very diligent to make sure that individuals with disabilities are not just a check in the box, but they are actually disabilities that, you know, make my organization run.
The Forward Motion Festival is over, but Karen Peterson Dancers continues to act as a beacon for dancers of all abilities to make their dreams come true. Billy Brightman, UMTV.
Some people make themselves through creative ways like dance, but others take their talents to the big screen. Miami's a hotspot for events about arts and culture, and the Miami Film Festival is one of them. Our reporter Melanie Lowe is live at the Coral Gables Cinema with more. Melanie, what's going on out there?
Regina, if you're a fan of all things motion pictures, be sure to check out Miami Film Festival this year. Today is opening day for the festival, hosted by Miami-Dade College, and the event runs until April 14th. Now, screenings are happening all over the city of Miami, including here at the Coral Gables Cinema, the Silver Spot Cinema, the Perez Art Museum, and many more. Be sure to check MiamiFilmFestival.com for more information on screenings and events. Tonight's opening film, Thelma, premieres at 7 p.m. at the Adrian Arsht Night Concert Hall. Be sure to check it out. You don't want to miss it. In Coral Gables, Melanie Lowe, UMTV.
Coming up next, a touch of childhood nostalgia meets culinary innovation. Learn where you can experience a part of the Barbie movie in real life. We'll be right back after the break.
In this relay race of life, we're all connected.
And how we use those connections can impact the world around us.
There's a certain energy with your first step on campus.
A pulse of collaboration that connects student to student.
A rush that comes from working on campaigns for real clients.
Here, you're guided to mastery and are given a chance to express yourself.
With professors who mentor you through interactive experience.
And by seeing your work on the big screen,
feel empowered to debate your ideas.
and broadcast what you see in your world to the entire world.
We are visual storytellers and innovators, narrating our past and our future.
So, what connects us?
What inspires us?
Communication does.
Communication challenges us to stand up for what we believe in.
Impacts and engages us.
Moves us. Helps us code our future.
Communication informs our community.
Good morning and welcome to Entertainment. I'm Quinn Davidson.
And I'm Sophia Davis. We've got all the latest updates on celebrity news for you this morning. Big news for Bond fans. Actor Pierce Brosnan, a former 007 himself, has weighed in on who he thinks could be the next James Bond. Brosnan's choice for the role is Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Brosnan knows a thing or two about playing Bond, having brought the character to life in 4 films. He believes Taylor-Johnson has what it takes to follow in Daniel Craig's footsteps with Taylor-Johnson's impressive resume, including roles in Kick-Ass and Avengers Age of Ultron. He's no stranger to action-packed performances. As the Bond series looks to reinvent itself, Taylor-Johnson's name is at the top of the list. Stay tuned to see if he accepts this mission.
Love is in the air as The Bachelorette announced its new leading lady. Meet Jen Tran. She is the first Asian American bachelorette in the show's 21 seasons. After her emotional ride on the most recent season of The Bachelor, Jen is back and more determined than ever to find her perfect match. Described as sweet and compassionate, Jen's journey to find love begins in July on ABC. Get ready for a season filled with romance, drama, and maybe even a few surprises.
And the Taylor Swift takeover continues. The pop star is getting her own station on Sirius XM. Starting April 7th, get ready for Channel 13, Taylor's Version, a dedicated channel celebrating the pop icon's 17-year career. This special channel will feature hits from Swift's Eras Tour, all Taylor's versions, live tracks, and much more, 24/7. The launch aligns with Swift's latest album drop, The Tortured Poets Department, on April 19th. Right on the channel's lucky 13th day, Channel 13 promises an intimate journey through Swift's discography, including fan stories, showing just how deep the connection between Swift and her fans run. Don't miss out. Tune into SiriusXM Channel 13 starting this Sunday and join the celebration of Taylor Swift's incredible music journey.
Federal agents conducted searches of rapper Sean Diddy Combs' mansions in Holmby Hills and Miami last week. The raids are related to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. In recent months, the Bad Boy Records executive and three-time Grammy winner faced legal battles and lawsuits, accusing him of sexual assault, rape, and sex trafficking. Combs' sons Justin and King were detained in his LA mansion but not arrested. Misa Hilton, the mother of Justin and King, says that law enforcement used unnecessary force against her two sons in the raid. Combs himself wasn't arrested either, but his phones have been seized. Despite the federal investigation, Combs has not been charged with any crime and denied all accusations of wrongdoing. Barbie's influence extends far beyond the toy aisle.
Barbie is now making waves in the culinary and hospitality world with her very own Malibu Barbie Cafe in Miami.
Alyssa Beatty joins us live in studio with more. Alyssa?
The Barbie movie was released in July 2023, and since then it has gained international attention. And now Barbie fans have a way to experience part of the movie in real life. Barbie has officially opened her own cafe in the heart of Wynwood, Miami.
It's everything I wanted it to be.
Decked out in pink, palm trees, and Malibu vibes, the Malibu Barbie Cafe invites visitors to step into what feels like a real Barbie dream house.
You can take your pictures with like the cute little Barbie box.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Barbie Cafe without a Barbie-inspired menu.
They have this yummy orange sherbet float that has like inside of a little pink car.
All of the decorations and design of the cafe are based on the 1970s Malibu, California theme. And one activity in particular has a deeper impact: roller skating. In order for guests to participate in this activity, they must pay to skate. The money raised will then go towards a local Miami organization called Girls Incorporated.
It's actually a really great organization, so all of the proceeds go to the organization. So included in your ticket price, it doesn't necessarily include your skating. It's a minimum of $1 donation, up to as much as you want to donate.
Girls Incorporated of Greater Miami provides free after-school programs for girls in a pro-girl environment.
They're getting help with homework, they're getting help with life skills, they're getting help with learning how to invest in STEM and how to think creatively through different art projects.
And like Girls Incorporated, Barbie continues to inspire generations with her message of empowerment and imagination. The Malibu Barbie Cafe is only in Wynwood, Miami until April 21st. After that, it heads to its next city. Make sure to go check it out and support the next generation of smart, strong, and bold girls. For UMTV, I'm Melissa Beatty.
My goodness, that is just fantastic. I really need to go to this Barbie Cafe. I saw the movie and it was so cool.
I wish I got to see the movie. It looked really interesting, and maybe we can go together.
Yeah, let's go together, April 21st.
That'd be so fun.
Well, now it is time for a cheesy look. But I heard reporters Ariel Weil and Jake Baum are headed to Brickell to learn how one pizza restaurant makes their world-renowned pies.
The restaurant is Mr. O1 Pizzeria, and they got cooking with the head chef for a special look into the one-of-a-kind pizzas. Just crust us. You'll love it. Take a look.
Hey guys, we're here in Brickell with head chef Renato at Mr. Owen's Pizza. I'm your host Ariel.
And I'm Jake Baum. We are so lucky and fortunate to be here today at Mr. 01 in Brickell with world famous chef Renato, and he's gonna kind of walk us through how we make this world famous pizza.
Hey guys, welcome to Mr. 01 in Brickell. Yes, today we're gonna do pizza, but I'm gonna do pizza with you guys.
Chef Renato, you've been doing this for quite a while. You started at what,
Yes.
11 years old?
Yes, I start in the professional world at 11, you know, just cleaning the station, organize the station, bring wood, you know, because I started in Italy with a wood oven, so organize the wood, start with the pills, you know, little by little, and I grow up with experience and with knowledge.
What would you say was the moment you fell in love with pizza?
So my mother always was telling me the same story. When, of course, I'm from South Italy. In South Italy, it's a must. The Sunday all together, eating all day. And my mom always wake up around 3 in the morning to start to prepare the sauce. One of the Sunday, I was 4. She started to make the dough, and I make the dough with her. And she told me that at least for other 4 or 5 Sunday, I was crying because I want to do pizza. Okay, let's go. So follow me, okay? You're gonna have, this is a 13-inch pizza.
13.
So first step, we're gonna flip it our pizza like this. 1, 2, 3.
2, 3.
3.
Perfect. Next step, we have to stretch our pizza.
Okay.
Think about you are a DJ now, okay? And this is the right moment because we have the ultra here. So look my hand. One hand go down, one hand go up, you know, like this. Okay. You know, up and down like a DJ.
Okay.
You have the sauce there.
Okay, perfect.
Is there a special ingredient in the sauce that
No,
we should know
this is
about?
just olive oil extra virgin and salt.
Okay.
This is an Italian tomato. They make it in San Marzano.
Uh-oh.
High quality. Perfect.
Come on, you gotta
like
be
this.
circular with this.
I know.
Perfect. No more. No more. Okay, now, depend how you want, but we're gonna start with the base.
Okay.
A cheese pizza, you know, so fresh cheese, and you're gonna spread in all the pizza. Very important, the right quantity, okay?
Okay.
Never too much, never too low. It's very important because if it's too cheesy, you don't feel the taste of the crust. And our crust is very special, so you put a little bit of cheese.
Okay.
Okay? Let's go.
Is that a
Should we go
handful?
for it?
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay, no more cheese.
No more cheese.
Too much cheese.
That's it.
Okay, look
Where
at
should
me.
where should we put the...
The rest you put inside.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
Look,
so good to use.
very easy with the peels, you know? We go in like this
Oh, God.
and take it out. We open and we're gonna put in.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay.
Come on, you got this.
Ready?
You got this.
Let's go.
Hey! Oh,
No!
Wait 1 second.
A little bit hanging off the end. Oh!
Oh, need
Okay.
more practice. That's okay.
Okay, let's go in.
They're saved. Like this?
Ooh.
Hey.
Okay.
There you
All right. All right. We got to be really deliberate about this. Oh, almost.
Almost.
Woo!
You
Hey.
see, this is all flour that we don't need.
No, we don't want the flour on there. Okay. Perfect. How about that?
That was pretty good.
All right. I'll take it for a first try.
Go in, put on the floor.
Hey!
We make a better job.
There you go. There you go.
So what was the inspiration of opening up Mr. 01? Is there a story behind the name?
Yes. So you have to know that the first name was Visa One. Why? A lot of people of you guys don't know that how lucky you are, born here in the United States, have the residence. For us that we come from outside, we have to apply for a visa. And one of the visa is the O1 that the government of the United States gives for people with extraordinary ability in sport, actor, fashion, and I was one of the first ones to have as a pizza maker.
So there's a ton of famous pizza that you guys made, but the pizza that really put you on the map was the Star Luca.
Yes, so the Star Luca, the name is because looks a star. It's a pizza that I compete for an international world champion in Monte Carlo, 2006. They was challenging creativity and taste, you know, and flavor. And of course, people love it. and I want to share with my guests. It's a pizza that looks as a star, filled with ricotta. So it's a mix between a calzone and a pizza, and people love it because it's easy to share, and you know that pizza is sharing.
It's unique to this place, and we're excited, and we're lucky to be here to try it. So let's go ahead.
Thank you so much. Let's eat.
All right, so Jake and Ariel, we're back from the kitchen. Clearly, our pizzas weren't up to the standards of Mr. 01, but we are lucky enough to have a plethora of other amazing quality pizzas. I'm in disbelief.
I cannot wait to dig in.
I'm gonna step out, we're gonna invite everybody here, and you're gonna eat everything, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it.
As you can see, we have thoroughly enjoyed these pizzas right here. They were seriously incredible. What did you think?
This is unlike anything I've ever tried before. The coffee pizza was unbelievable. Unique flavors all around. Thank you so much to Chef Renato and the entire staff here at Mr. 01.
This was so much fun.
It's amazing. All right, back to you guys in the studio.
And still ahead, after the break, our reporter Maddie Basalik sits down with actor, writer, and producer Nestor Carbonell.
We'll have the full interview when we return. Don't go anywhere.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to UMTV This Morning. I'm Maddie Basalik, and I'm here with actor, producer, and director Nestor Carbonell. Nestor, how are you today?
I'm great, Maddie. Thank you. Thank you for having me. So great to be here.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. We are so excited to talk to you today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So you are a very decorated actor. You've done a bunch of different things, and between Batman, the morning show, Shogun, what has been your favorite role?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I mean, I'm just grateful anytime I'm working, to be honest with you, because it is such a crazy business. I started many years ago when I think sitcom was really sort of in the early 90s, mid 90s was sort of the big thing. Started out in sitcom and eventually went, to more of dramatic stuff. But I would say, I think all in all, I've been so blessed and lucky to work in this business. I think probably working on Lost was maybe my favorite experience, given that the material was so good. We got to live and shoot in Hawaii, which is I mean, it's almost
amazing.
as good as this.
Almost. I don't know.
In fact, it feels a little like this.
It is a little bit like Lost. So you feel back at home.
I feel I should have a torch. I should have a torch while we do the interview. This is pretty spectacular here. And then Shogun was a blast because it's just incredible escapist sort of television done on such an incredible level.
So kind of on that note, the character you play, Vasco Rodriguez,
Yeah.
it was previously played by a Welsh actor, but it is a Latino character. What would you say about Latino characters finally being portrayed by Latino actors?
I mean, I think it's great. I think to me, it's a great opportunity to get to play anything. As an actor, that's sort of your dream, is to be able to lose yourself in any in any kind of character. And I've been lucky enough to get to play characters of all kinds of backgrounds. But to get to play this character in particular was particularly special. He's a pretty crazy guy.
So you've lived a bunch of places internationally and both in the United States. How would you say that those experiences have impacted you both as a person and as an actor?
So I think it's impacted me in the sense that it's opened up my world for sure.
Right.
I've been able to see so much and also travel a lot.
Yeah.
And that's been exposed to so many cultures. I've been able to tap into that as an actor. So I've been able to do a lot of characters with different accents, who from Italy, from Spain, that kind of thing. And so that's enriched me in that way, and even more so as a person. I've made friends all over the world, and I've held on to many of those friendships, and so
that's amazing.
It's pretty special.
It's hard to do, especially now. I guess it's easier in this digital age, but
you're so right, because back then I used to have to do we'd have to write letters by hand, and after a while I was like, all right, how many more of these? Because we were moving so much. But some of those friendships still remain, which is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So speaking of friendships, you are friends with one of our own professors, Antonio Mora.
I sure am. I have known your professor Antonio Mora for a long time, and even longer. My parents have known his parents for
oh, wow.
way back in Cuba. So we go back generations. And in fact, I learned a tip from Antonio because I work on the morning show as an anchor. I sat on in your Studio B, and I learned a tip that now I'm going to take to the 4th season of the morning show, which is how to sit properly in the chair. And it's
yes, that is something he makes sure to
90
drill
degrees.
into us.
90 degrees. I was like, I was doing this. He's like, no, dude, 90 degrees. Come on.
Shoulder, elbows at a 90
elbows
degree
out,
angle.
yeah. So I will be sure to sit on my coattails in 90 degrees and try and do him proud.
So what was it like working with Christopher Nolan, who just won his first Oscar?
I mean, incredible. And I don't know if you got to see Oppenheimer yet.
I did. It was amazing. I loved it.
It's extraordinary. It's long overdue, that Oscar, but he's incredible. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been on a set quite like that before, not even close. And what I love about what he does is that he still has the same people from Memento, his first film, many of the key people working there. So it's a really relaxed environment.
Yeah.
So he's got this crazy budget, this massive film, and yet I feel like he runs it like an independent film.
Yeah.
So immediately that relaxed me. And that was great because, it's pretty daunting. I had to give a speech as the mayor in downtown Chicago with 1,300 people in front of me.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
It was nuts. Chris Nolan's there with an iPad, and there's an IMAX camera, and it's just like, this is nuts.
So my last question for you is, can you set the record straight once and for all?
Tell me.
Eyeliner, mascara, are the eyelashes real?
Maybe it's Maybelline, maybe not. They're real. I'm just a, hairy dude. No, I've gotten that since I was a kid, since I was like 5 years old. So it's just, I've just got a lot of hair around the eyes.
Well, Nestor, thank you so much for joining us. You can catch him on Shogun, which is streaming on Hulu and FX, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to sports. I'm Taryn Jacobs.
And I'm Wrigley Court. Maybe early, Taryn, but there was plenty of sports news overnight.
That's right, Wrigley. The Miami Marlins have just made history, and not exactly for the right reasons. After a 5-8 loss last night in St. Louis, the Marlins are now 0-8 on the young season. This is the worst start since 2016 when the Minnesota Twins started their season 0-9. The Fish made the postseason last year, but they have now become the first team to start the following season with 8 straight losses. So far, they have been outscored 51-24, and it's been against the Pirates and Angels, 2 teams projected to be near the bottom of the standings.
Yesterday, the down on their luck Marlins took on the Cardinals, looking to pick up their first win of the season. Let's head over to Busch Stadium in St. Louis for the highlights. Cardinals up 3-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. Jake Berger getting all of that one. That's going deep into left field. Jake Berger hitting it into Big Mac land. The joke writes itself there, folks. Bottom of the 5th now, Marlins up 4-2. Nolan Arenado driving it deep into left field. Nick Gordon just gonna get taken advantage of by that bounce there. And that is gonna drive in another run to make it a 4-3 ball game. Marlins up now by 1 in the 7th, but Nolan Gorman's going to change that with a drive into deep right field. Jesus Sanchez was nowhere near that one. That's going to drive in a run, and the play at the plate is not going to be in time. Cardinals going to go up here for the first time since the 2nd inning. Later in the 7th, now Cardinals up 2. Mason Wynn, he's the only win the Marlins have seen all year. Jesus Sanchez is just going to drop that one. That's going to drive in another run. That's going to be an 8-5 ball game. That's a 5-run 7th inning for the Cardinals as the Marlins lose 8-5. The University of Miami is known for having multi-talented athletes. I had the chance to see them show off skills you won't see on the field.
This isn't your typical recital, and these aren't your typical artists. It's the University of Miami's annual Student Athlete Talent Show. an opportunity for student athletes to show that they're more than their on-field product.
We really try to focus on making sure that our athletes aren't just athletes. We knew that they all have something outside of their sport, and so we just wanted to pull that out and be able to showcase their other talents.
LaToya Ferris is an assistant athletics director at UM, and she's dedicated to making sure the students under her wing live balanced lives on and off the field.
Being a student athlete is super challenging, and mental health is such a big issue right now. Being able to have something that they can really focus on, like again, have that creative outlet in whatever way that is. We just wanted it to be something fun for our student athletes. I think anytime we can get them together outside of their sport is really important.
The talent show's a chance for some of those athletes to get together and show off a few of their lesser-known skills.
I'm always competing for track, so it's cool to also have basketball because sometimes I'll go and play basketball just for fun, and it's kind of like mind-freeing a little bit. I think a lot of athletes don't get to showcase themselves in other ways besides their sport, so I think it's great that we had this opportunity.
But for some, their talents are more than just a hobby.
If I didn't have that creative outlet, it'd be so much harder. I'm somebody who needs to have these things going on at the same time. Art is just as much of who I am as my sport is. And so if I'm not really doing one of them to the fullest extent, everything else kind of comes crashing down.
In a room full of some of the most competitive people on campus, this is one thing that isn't all about winning.
Like a lot of my teammates came in and they've seen me play basketball a little bit, so it was just fun to have them see another side of me here.
For us to be able to see them in that space and then to see how much they enjoyed it, I had a blast. You know, I mean, again, I see these students a lot, but I don't see certain sides of them. So being able to see this other side of them was really fun.
After women's basketball coach Katie Meyer announced her retirement 2 weeks ago, the University of Miami began a nationwide search for her replacement. And now that search is coming to an end. Miami is finalizing a deal with Trisha Kolop, the former Toledo women's basketball coach. Kolop has an impressive resume during her 24 years coaching collegiate basketball. She is the winningest coach in Toledo women's basketball history with 353 wins over the past 16 seasons. She led Toledo to its third consecutive MAC regular championship this season, and she was named MAC Coach of the Year for the third year in a row. During Kolop's tenure, Toledo saw 11 postseason trips, including 2 NCAA tournament appearances.
Monday night's matchup between LSU and Iowa in the Women's Elite Eight broke records on ESPN. Highly anticipated rematch of last year's national championship game drew in over 12 million viewers, making it the most watched game in the history of women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark was the star of the show, dropping 41 points in Iowa's win over the Tigers. LSU's Angel Reese put on a show of her own, putting up 17 points and 20 rebounds despite being injured for most of the game. It was ESPN's second highest audience for any basketball game, college or pro, in over a decade. Clark and the Hawkeyes will face off against the UConn Huskies in the Final Four tonight. Well, Taryn, after that game, I'm really excited to see what the men's and women's tournaments have in store this weekend.
Between both NC State and UConn making the Final Four in the men's and women's tournament, this year should be historic.
Well, here to talk about the tournaments is sports analyst Andrew Klein. Andrew, what do you think about these tournaments so far?
Well, guys, NC State has certainly turned heads on the men's and the women's side. And I don't know if anything is going to slow them down except for one man. That's Zach Edey. The guy has been marvelous all year for Purdue this season. He's the best player in the entire country, but he's got to go against a big star in DJ Burns. DJ Burns has been great all tournament long. He's been a catalyst for NC State, and he's going to have to physically go at Zach Edey consistently, especially in the first half. Edey is so good at not taking fouls that DJ Burns is going to have to almost force him to commit those fouls. You look at Burns throughout the tournament, this is what he wants to do. Back down, he's going to turn, he's got a great jump hook with that left hand. He's not playing football like his coach said. He's been in some rumors in the NFL, not going there. I think that's going to be a really good game. I think NC State's got what it takes, but I think Purdue can take the win.
What about the UConn squad, Andrew? Are they going to become the first repeat champion since 2007?
I mean, look, they are certainly well on their way to doing so. Consistently dominant is this UConn team, Taryn. It's been incredible to watch them in the last 2 years. Every single win has been by 13 points or more, and that 13-point win came against our very own Miami Hurricanes in the Final Four last year. This UConn team is stacked top to bottom, but Alabama has already been battle-tested. They went against Clemson in the last round. Clemson's got a lot of stars, like UConn, who's got stars like Donovan Clingan, Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, Alex Caravan. Clemson has a lot of guys as well. Jojo Rard, they've got Ian Shefflin, they've got Chase Hunter. So the entirety of Clemson really does translate, I think, well to what UConn's going to bring at Alabama. But Alabama's been great in the tournament too. Mark Sears is magnificent. 24 points a game in the Big Dance so far. He's been awesome to watch.
Let's go over to the women's side, Andrew, because Monday was record-breaking. Is there an encore on the horizon?
Guys, yes, there is absolutely an encore on the horizon because UConn and Iowa is going to be cinematic. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Aaliyah Edwards, all of these superstars on the court, and it's going to be a fun one. I don't know if anybody can stop Caitlin Clark. You can only hope to combat her. And who better than Paige Beckers to do so? Paige has been so good in this tournament. I can't even begin to talk about the talent that she has. We know this, though. She's one of the best players in the country. And then, of course, Caitlin Clark. But she's not the only star on this team. Hannah Stolke, Addison O'Grady, Sydney Falter, Gabby Marshall, all going to play key roles as well for the Hawkeyes so far of Iowa.
Well, Andrew, neither of those squads are undefeated like Dawn Staley's South Carolina team. Is Staley going to get her third title?
Honestly, I don't really think so, Wrigley. I think NC State's got what it takes. They've got 6 scores that average 10 plus a game, so it's going to be a good one. I don't know if NC State can do it, though.
Thank you, Andrew. Still ahead, an exclusive interview with the mayor of Miami.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Miami Mayor Francis Suarez is approaching his final year in office in 2025. What are the mayor's upcoming plans for the year, and how will this affect the city of Miami? Ethan Gainey is live in studio now with Mayor Suarez, looking for some answers. Ethan?
Mayor Francis Suarez has been in office since 2017. Over these past 6 years, he's worked to digitalize the government, overseen the Miami Forever Bond, and Fortune magazine included him in their 2021 list of the world's 50 greatest leaders. With me now is Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Mr. Mayor, it's great to have you here.
It's good to be with you, Ethan. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of course. So starting things off, let's talk about what students might be interested in. You know, one of the things on students' mind is climate change and rising sea levels. And so the Miami Forever Bond actually is something that sort of addresses that with the rising sea level prevention. But it also addresses roadways and parks and affordable housing. And it's set to invest $400 million into that. Do you think that's enough, or is that more of a starting point?
I think it's a starting point. I think, the idea is for Miami to be here forever, right? And so it's for your grandchildren's grandchildren. So $400 million is not going to do that. But it is a down payment. It's an emphasis on something that we believe is important, which is our resiliency and investing. All the studies that I've seen as a member of the Global Commission on Adaptation demonstrate that for every dollar you spend prophylactically, in other words, in infrastructure and before a storm event, you save $7 to $10 in recovery costs. So it's a great investment. we've seen FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Administration, downgrade our flood risk profile, which means that our investments are working and they're actually creating less risk. There's obviously a huge statewide crisis in insurance, but that's good news for City of Miami residents that have seen an 8% reduction in their flood premiums. So look, there's a lot of work to be done. This is a $1 billion problem plus, but it's a starting point.
You know, another crisis that students, I guess, have been concerned about has been the housing crisis. And obviously around the country, it's a problem. But in Miami specifically, I believe CoreLogic said that it had the highest rate of price increases in housing at 11% as of November. So, you know, I know some students that are thinking about transferring because of housing costs. What sort of things is your administration working on to address this?
It's a huge problem, and it's a national problem, as you said, but it's acute here in Miami because I believe we have hyper demand. We have hyper demand because we're a city with low crime, we're a city with low taxes, and we're a city that's growing tremendously. So it's very attractive, so people want to come. And then, of course, demand with a constrained supply in terms of how quickly you can build something to meet the supply means that prices go up. And so that's a challenge that we've been dealing with. We've been doing it through, in part, the Miami Forever Bond, in part through the CRA, where we leverage every dollar that we invest to the tune of about $10 to $20 in the capital stack of projects that we invest in, whether it's through banks, equity, and other governments that subsidize the project. So that's part of it. And we're constructing thousands of houses of affordable housing, particularly units and residential apartments. So that's part of it. The other part of it is we're trying to deconflict government to make building easier, to just increase supply. So we've got a pipeline right now of about 40,000 units in the pipeline, which is about a 15 to 20% increase in our entire building stock, right? So that's a massive increase in supply. That should help us control prices over the long run, something that cities like New York and San Francisco are having a hard time doing. I think the third thing we're doing is we're focusing on our economy. We want to make sure that as students graduate from the University of Miami, they have a good paying job. Right? And I think the best way for them to afford to live here is to be able to have a job that allows them to afford to live here. And so we've grown our economy tremendously. I mean, we've brought about 10 trillion plus in assets under managed companies to Miami, over 1,000 companies in the last few years. We grew 14% and 12% in the last 2 years, respectively, in the city. So we're number one in wage growth. We have the lowest unemployment in America. I think we're at 1.4%. So, I mean, a lot of the economic data is showing that we're succeeding on that front. Always work to be done. It's never perfect, but you work hard to try to make it the best that you can in the time that you have the opportunity to do it.
Right. So, you know, one thing that could potentially affect, obviously, the economy is the upcoming election in November. It's going to be a rematch between the same 2020 guys, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, as far as I know, in 2016 and in 2020, you did not endorse the former president, but this year you did endorse him. What changed?
Well, what changed is it's a rematch of the 2020 election. And for me, I think you strip away a lot of the noise, right? They're both, you know, reaching either 80 or approximating 80 years old. So they're both older candidates, what I would call boomer candidates. And I think the 28 election will be a next generation candidacy, which I think people can potentially get more excited about. You see some polls that say, you know, 70% of the people don't want a rematch, but they gave themselves a rematch because we live in a democracy. So for me, what I do is I strip away all of the noise, which is hard to do in a very noisy environment, and I focus on the record. And I think when you look at border security, which is a huge issue, arguably the number one issue in America right now, you have a situation where President Biden has allowed 7 million people to enter into this country legally during his term. That's more than the population of 37 states. You know, there was much more border security under the Trump administration. When you look at the Middle East, you had Middle East peace under the Trump administration with the Abraham Accords. You have a conventional war in the Middle East.
So essentially, it's about a number of things, both foreign and domestic.
Yeah, it's about just looking at the record, you know. And for me, when you look at the economy, when you look at world issues, and when you look at the border, I think on those three things, Trump's record is significantly better.
All right. Well, Mayor Suarez, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. And it's the first time I think about my last year in office, so I appreciate that too.
Well, Regina, let's send it back to you.
And finally, a UM organization called Elevate held a student fashion show on campus on Wednesday in the Shalala Ballroom. The event was completely organized by students with student makeup artists, hairstylists, models, and of course, designers. 6 student designers each created a fashion line consisting of 2 to 6 outfits, and it was great to see. It was absolutely adorable.
Yeah, you know, I'm more of a basketball shorts and a t-shirt type of guy, but I'm sure that was awesome.
We'll have to work on that. But that is all we have for UMTV's first ever morning show.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to do this again sometime. Have a great weekend.